Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jeffrey Schultz and I'm a master's student attending Concordia University, Chicago, studying computer science. In this video, we're going to be doing some more real-world bash scripting challenges in addition to my previous video. So if you've not watched my previous video on bash power tools, I highly recommend you watch that one before continuing with this because this one's going to make a lot more sense if you do. So let's begin. So I will be going into the terminal again, and I'll be creating the following scripts: a log analyzer, a file cleaner, an email and phone number validator, and a report generator using CSV files. So I will see you guys there. Look at these real-world script challenges. So the first one that we went over is going to be the log analyzer. So what we're going to do, we're going to create a file called nano log analyzer.sh, and we're going to write the same first line, /bin/bash. What we're going to do, we're going to use AWK for this. So this is going to be for analyzing, which is what AWK is best at. So we're going to do quotes, and we're going to do curly brackets. We're going to do print like this. We're going to say $1, close the curly brackets, close the quotes, single quotes only. And then we're going to say in double quotes, $1, so the first argument. We're going to say sort UNIQ, and then we're going to do -C, and then we're going to do sort -NR. If you saw my last video, that is going to be sort in descending order. And we're going to do head -10, so just like this. So we're going to save this file, add the execute permission to it, sh, and then we are going to do this with a file I have called access.log, so it's going to use this sh, and we're going to say access.log. So there you go. It prints out, these are made up IPs by the way, but I did them with IPs, so this is just like a log of them. But it does it properly, 3, 1, 1, and it prints them in descending order. So it goes from the top to the bottom. So this worked properly, and the only error that you really could have with this is that if you don't have an access log on your computer, or if you forgot to create one, but because not all computers have one, but it's just like this, just like we typed right here, just like we typed right there on the highlighted part. You could create a mock one if you want, like I did, because I created a mock one because I don't have a file like this, but I wanted to do it with something that you could actually log, or you could actually do something useful with. So the next task is actually going to be the file cleaner. So what we're going to do, we're going to create a file, nano file cleaner.sh, same first line, as always, /bin/bash. What we're going to do, we're going to type in find, we're going to do $1, space, minus type, and then we're going to say F with the / there, and then a parenthesis, and then a space. We're going to say minus name. Then in quotes, we're going to do asterisk, and then with the little squiggly line here, not caps lock, just like that, we're going to say -O, minus name. And then we're going to do this .tmp. We're going to say -O. So this is all files that have the tmp final extension. So -O, minus name. And we are going to say another one, I'm just going to make one up, BAK. Then we're going to do this one, and then close this out like this, because we started it with this. We're going to close it out like that. So then what we're going to do next is we're going to do -exec, and then we're going to say rm-v, then squiggly brackets like that, and then a / again with a colon. And this is it. So what we're going to do, we're going to add the execute permission to it. Did not mean to do that. Let's do that again. There we go. We're going to say mkdir. We're going to say this with I'm going to say test directory 2 because we made one earlier. We're going to say touch this /test directory 2, and we're going to say file.tmp. That was one of the extensions we provided. And we're going to say /file cleaner.sh, and then test directory 2, just like this. So as you can see, it's going to print this out, and so we're going to go to the directory. So we're going to just say cd test directory 2. We're going to say ls, and as you can see, we put this file in there originally with this touch command, and as you can see, now that we have executed this, it is no longer there. It is an empty folder. So this worked properly. I'm going to go back to the home folder. We just type in cd. This is something I covered in my Linux video. So the only error that people will really make with this is that it'll point to the wrong folder, or the folder won't exist. But as you saw, we made the directory to make sure that this would work properly, and it wiped the files with the TMP file extension that we specified in the script. So this worked properly. So the next task is going to be validating emails and phone numbers, and this is something I also have ready because it's, like I said, is really a little bit complicated. So I called it nano. I'm going to say validate. I called it validate input .sh, and as you can see, first line remains. So the first one we're going to do is the if, and we use the double square brackets for rejects. So we're going to say $exclamation or $hashtag and then minus -ne2. So we're going to say input string. It's going to be an email or a phone number. So there's going to be two different options. Exit one, and to close out the if statement, we got fee. So input and type is going to be the first and second respective variable. So what we're going to do, we're going to say if it's an email, so the type is going to be an email, or it's going to be a phone number. We're just going to follow the same pattern. So if the echo, the input, is going to follow this pattern, so grep is to be able to search. So this is using this grep command that we covered in the last video. This is for searching, so it's going to find this pattern, and then it's going to be an email. We use the @ symbol, the period, and the text before, so this is going to be a valid email. And then we use elif, which is basically like else if, pretty much, ELIF, else if. If it is a phone number, if the input, it's going to search for this format if it is a phone number, and then we have the 1 to make sure it's a valid US phone number, with the 0 through 9 3 times, and then 4 times, so it's going to be the regular formatting for a phone number. It's going to say valid phone number, or invalid, and then remember to close out each if statement, we do fee to close this out. And then otherwise, it's going to be just an unknown type, and because it's not going to follow each of these formats. Then we close out the main if statement, which is right here. From right here. So if it's either of these, we follow this pattern, and then it says if it's valid or invalid. So all we're going to do now is we're going to add the chain plus x validate input sh, and then we are going to just say something like this. We're going to just say, I had run this earlier, so I'm going to just do it again. Let me find it. Here we go. So we're going to say validate input.sh, and we're going to say here is the input, and what type it is. So remember, it's going to be phone or email. So we type in phone, and as you can see when we do this, it is a valid phone number. So let me find the one for email that I had typed in earlier. Here it is. So validate input.sh, same file. We're going to do test@example.com. This should absolutely work, and it's the type email. So as you see, valid email. So there we go. So it works as expected. So I'm going to clear my screen now, and we are going to go on to the last task, which is going to be a report generator, and I'm going to be using CSV files for this. So what we're going to do, we're going to create a file called nano CSV _report.sh. Same first line, /bin, /bash, just like that. We're going to say AWK again, -f. We're going to say in quotes NR equals 1, and make sure no spaces here. Can't have any spaces. We're going to say curly brackets, print. We're going to say columns. So we're going to print out amount of columns. So it's going to be right here, $0. Oop, none needed there. Only here for columns. And then we're going to say whatever the variable name is. We're going to say NR greater than 1. We're going to say print row, just like this. We're going to say NR -1 and colon. We're going to say quotes again, $0. No quotes needed there. Then we're going to close this one out. Then we are going to say just dollar in quotes, $1. So just like this. Let me make sure all the syntax is proper on this. Print columns, quote columns, and then colon. Quotes again, 0, so that prints out this. So NR, we're going to do print row, and then no quotes needed at the end of this, because we have it here, and then NR -1, so this should absolutely be correct. So then we are going to add the change mode plus X to CSV report, so we can execute .sh. Then we're going to do echo -e, because again, we're doing a command line input here. We're going to do name, score, just like this. And I'm going to do \n, because it's a new line. I'm going to put in my name and make up a score. So I'm going to say my name, and then I'll just say 95. then we're going to do another one. Let's just type in like Alice, and then we're going to say 92. Let's just do 92. And then we're going to do this to a file right here called students.csv, just like this. So we use a little arrow so we know to put it into there. Then we are going to do ./csv report.sh, and then we're going to do students, the file we just wrote to, students.csv. Oop, did I make an error on this? Because it should not be outputting that. Let me double check to make sure I did not make an error typo somewhere. Print row nr -1, it should absolutely be correct. Columns. AWK -f, comma, nr double equals 1. Curly brackets, print, space, columns with the quote, quotes, $0, and then no space there, close that, and r is greater than 1. Print, oh, that's I think what it is. It should be a lowercase print, not an uppercase. See, it can be the smallest little things like that that matter. So this should be the trick, but let me make sure that all the syntax is correct. X quotes, capitalize row, and then nr -1. Close the quotes, colon, $0, close that, and close that. That should absolutely be the trick. That should absolutely be correct. So let me just add the permission again just for good practice. And there we go. See, it can be the smallest little errors like that that can trip you up. Because the syntax could be absolutely correct, but when you have one little thing like that, it's got to be in lowercase to print. It cannot be in uppercase. So as you see, columns, name, score. So row 1 is my name and my score, and then row 2, the scores that we added. So there we go. It works as expected. So some of the most common errors doing what I just did, you got to make sure that print is lowercase. You got to make sure that the file exists that you have. You got to make sure that you create a command line input. You got to do this echo -e and write it to a file so that exists. And make sure to include that file that you write to in your command line input. So that is all for this demo, and I will see you guys back in the slides for a wrap-up. Okay, so what do we exactly just see in that demo? This is going to kind of give you all a view in a consolidated manner so you can kind of just see what we did all in one slide. So grep, AWK, and sort combine to provide powerful data analysis and reporting tools, as you guys saw through the different scripts that we just made. We use file cleanup scripts to help maintain healthy working directories. Regex validation scripts help to enforce input data quality. And AWK excels at parsing and formatting CSV files for reports, as you saw through the students file. So that is all I have for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys learned something new. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to this YouTube channel, and have a great day.